Hello everyone, my name is Epoa and welcome back to my tier ranking series of all dragons from How to Train Your Dragon. Today we are continuing from where we stopped last time, so this is part 2. Part 1 is on the channel and you can watch it right here. Since we do have a lot of dragons to cover, let's not ado too much and let's just get started. Alright, next up we have the Whispering Death and the Screaming Death. Screaming Death is basically, again, sort of a subspecies or a mutation of the Whispering Death. It hatches every 1000 years out of an egg, and it is very, very rare. As for the Whispering Death, it has rotating teeth, 6 rows of rotating teeth. It's covered in spikes from head to tail tip. It has a very large snake-like body with no legs, and also the wings are rather small compared to the body size. Also, their eyes, they have very poor eyesight and are very sensitive to light, which is why they spend most of their time underground digging tunnels. Now, for the Whispering Death, I would say that this is again an A tier, because they can fend for themselves, definitely. Their spikes can sort of extend to appear more dangerous, and you can't really attack this dragon without it attacking you as well. However, with their poor eyesight, they are very vulnerable during daytime, and should the sun come through the clouds, they will most likely have to flee and won't be able to fight. That is why I believe they should be A tier. Screaming Death, on the other hand, it is not sensitive to light. It has a very different jawline. The teeth are not rotating, however it has a much larger chin. The lower jaw is much longer, larger, and also it is generally just bigger than the Whispering Death. I would personally put Screaming Death even into S tier. I honestly don't think this dragon has any obvious weaknesses. It is aggressive, it can shoot fire, it produces a very loud scream which disorients other dragons and any other enemies or prey. Honestly, dealing with this thing, it is not easy. That is why I'm putting it in S tier. Next up, the Thunderpeed. Thunderpeed is a dragon that we saw in School of Dragons and Rise of Berk. It is a boulder class dragon. It has 6 very small centipede-like legs and 2 very large muscular forearms that it uses for combat, hunting, and just pretty much living through the day-to-day life. My problem with this dragon is that it has very, very small wings, which is why flight would be basically impossible, because a dragon of such size and strength with those small wings, it shouldn't really be able to fly. Also, these dragons are social dragons. They live in packs, they have an alpha of their own, and they usually follow the alpha's command. Now, basically, because these such large dragons they're not the best hunters. When they walk, their feet produce a very, very loud sound, which allows for their prey to run away, and since they can't really fly, they are basically relying on being able to hunt on the ground. Since hunting on the ground is hard and flying is basically impossible, I don't think these dragons would last that long together. They are carnivores, they do need meat, so they can't just eat plants or wood. And this is the first dragon that I'm going to put into the D tier, because body structure and how they're designed, that wouldn't really survive for too long, or at least it shouldn't survive for too long. Next, we have the Gronsakol, another boulder class dragon. These dragons highly resemble the Gronkol, however they appear to be covered in ice, or at least their skin looks like they are covered in ice. They do not breathe fire, but emit very icy blasts, balls of ice you could say, and live on Ice Storm Island as it is shown in School of Dragons. Similarly to the Gronkol, they have very small wings and are not the fastest flyers. They are not even the best fighters, as they did not have as tough and armored skin as Gronkles do. So I will put them into the B tier because they are still very armored, they can still fight. However, they're not the best really designed, so a B tier, a solid B tier for me. Next, we have the Hot Burple. Hot Burple is a dragon that we first saw in How to Train Your Dragon 2. There is Gober's dragon, Grump, and we also saw a little Grump's backstory in Race to the Edge. Now, Hot Purples are also very, very tough armored dragons. They basically look like an even lazier version of the Grunkle. They are also known to be the only dragons able to chew through dragon-proof bars and cages, which is why dragon hunters often use them for getting rid of scrap metal. But however, they do have a flaw that they're just simply so tired and quite lazy even, that they often fall asleep and just kinda slug around, don't really do much. However, that can even be useful, because if you need to save your energy, then wasting it on flight is not really the best idea, so really the best thing you can do is sleep. Again, similarly to Grunkle and Grunsicle, I'm going to put them into the B tier. They are not bad, but just they could be improved. Next, we have the Snuffle Fang, another Boulder class dragon. This dragon has very large wings, which allows for it to actually fly despite its size. It has a very spiked armored, so not armored but spiked ball at the end of its tail, which it uses for defense and offense. It feeds on minerals and minerals in rocks, which is why it is often easily captured, because whenever it is feeding, it is so focused on food that it doesn't even notice it is in danger. However, once it does choose to fight, it is a very dangerous dragon to fight, as it can bite, it can breathe fire, it can claw you, it can hit you, and it can also fly away, because even though it's a Boulder class dragon, it has very large, powerful wings. So I believe this is a solid A tier, almost S tier, almost. Then we have the Shovel Helm, another Boulder class dragon. This one is even more docile than a Snuffle Fang. It also has one weapon less, you could say, as at the end of its tail it has sort of a flat horizontal fin rather than a bludgeon. And it is mostly just simply used when it is trained. It is used for building, or even wild Snuffle Fangs, they usually work with other dragons to build nests and dens. It does have a very powerful head and a very powerful jaw, alongside this sort of a shovel-like spike at its chin. That is how it got its name. However, as I said, it is a very docile species, which is why they wouldn't really fight too much, and they can very easily be attacked or caught up, as they are not exactly the fastest dragon species. For me, I would put them into the B tier. Again, they're not helpless, however, they could be greatly improved and are, at least in my opinion, definitely not on the same scale as the Snuffle Fang. Next, Catastrophic Quicken. This dragon is known mostly from Race to the Edge. It has also appeared in games. This dragon is very, very well defended, you could say. It has a split lower jaw, which gives it a very formidable appearance. It is very large, and it can also roll up into a ball and roll, basically unstoppable, and can easily crush its opponents. I do not remember this dragon having a single weakness, you could say. And I believe that in nature, this dragon could very, very easily simply continue to thrive and live in its populated areas. They have been seen to be social. We have seen more than one Quaken get along just well with other dragons, so they're a solid S tier for me. Very well evolved and designed. Alright, next up, Eruptodon. Now, Eruptodon is a very interesting case, because even though they are a very large and very well defended Boulder class dragon with its very, very thick skin, they eat only lava. So they can't eat anything else, won't eat anything else, and they that makes them very vulnerable, because if you are a species that relies only on one specific type of food and nothing else, if that food source goes out, you are as good as gone. And you will be gone very, very soon, because you can't survive for long without food. This dragon is not defenseless. It can fight, it can fend for itself. However, should its food be deprived, or should it be taken away from it, they will die, and they simply cannot even eat anything else, simply because they just won't do it. That is why I think this is a C tier dragon, because you really shouldn't limit yourself to only one food source. Alright, following the Raptodon, we have the Sentinels. Sentinels are guardians of Vanaheim and are completely blind. They are blind dragons, however, they have been shown to be very, very adaptable. They can mimic any dragon's attacks and easily basically push them to stay. Even if they are dying, they can easily push them to stay where they're supposed to be. They have been shown to be very, very maneuverable, even though they are blind. They are very, they have very good hearing. They can very easily hear even the slightest movements. And once they are in danger, they can simply go into hibernation to preserve their energy and survive until they heat up again and wake up. Overall, I think that this is an A tier, because blindness, like being just blind all the time, not really the best trait, however they still make it work. So yeah, A tier for me, I would say. Next, Terrible Terrors. Very famous common dragons, very small. They eat whatever you want. They are not picky. The opposite of a Raptodon, basically. They are social. They can live in groups. They can live on their own. They just mostly go with the flow. They aren't very sensitive. They can fend for themselves. They do breathe fire. They will fight for food if they have to, but are just overall adaptable. I would say that this is an S tier, because they are basically smaller sentinels that do have eyesight and can survive anywhere. Alright, next dragon is the Grapple Grounder. This dragon was seen in the How to Train Dragon video game, as well as School of Dragons and Rise of Berk. It has a very long snake-like body, however, unlike the Screaming Death and the Whispering Death, it has legs, it has larger wings compared to the body size, and it has a smaller head with a very small jaw and a few horns alongside some spikes along the back. Grapple Grounders are known as the brawlers of the dragon world, and they often use their body to quite literally squeeze and just crush their opponent or prey, similarly to pythons, which is, in my opinion, a really cool tactic, especially for a dragon, which does have, although their fireballs are powerful, they have a very large time span between firing two fireballs, so they can't really rely on their firepower in combat at all times. I would personally put this dragon into A tier or maybe B tier. A or B, I'm not sure. It's definitely not helpless, it can fend for itself. However, the fireball thing, and I think we'll go A. Yeah, it can survive. It's good. It's an A tier. Okay, next we have the Crimson Gorgotter. This is a dragon that we first saw in the Hidden World, and it is a huge dragon, very resembling a moose, especially with those horns. It has a very chubby texture, at least to me, and I would personally think of this as sort of a gentle giant. It's a very calm but also playful dragon, and it can hold its own, especially against other dragons and even humans. It's not invincible, but it is not easy to capture. Honestly, I do not know too much about this dragon. There is not that much information on it, but I would put this into A tier as well, maybe even S tier. I think it's A tier. I think it's A tier because of the size. It's not exactly the most agile or maneuverable dragon, and that can be a big disadvantage. So yeah, I'm gonna go with A tier. Next, the Forever Wing. Forever Wing is a massive boulder class dragon, which quite literally looks like a mountain and sleeps beneath mountains and forests, and trees, literal trees, grow on its back, and when it rises, it's like literally the whole forest has risen. This dragon is quite literally just an ancient sleeping giant, and the fact that this dragon can just simply survive without eating anything, like this huge creature, it's probably a very good tactic, because when you're a big dragon you can't really hunt every day, you can't really move that easily, prey won't just come to you, walk into your mouth. That is why I think that the hibernation tactic and just like waking up every couple of dozens of years is pretty smart. I'm gonna put this into A tier as well. Yeah, it's a hibernating machine, probably. Basically, that's how I would describe it. And it's just like a gentle giant, a real gentle giant. I think this is the best place to end this episode. We mostly covered boulder class dragons today, and the next dragon is a deadly nadder, which is tracker class, and then we are moving on to the sharp class, so I'm pretty sure that this is the best place to end this video on. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can let me know by liking it and subscribing to the channel, because that is how you can support both the channel and me, because seeing that people like the videos, that is really what keeps me going. Thank you also so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I will see you in the next video. So long!